Time to level up, creator family. Today we're going to talk about a foundational element of creating. It's a principle that is ingrained into our universe, and when you understand it, it gives you the ability to see around corners, to look into the future, and to truly create what you want. Let's talk about it.
The Creator Podcast.
My name is Dion Williams, aka Dion Does, and I truly believe that we were all created in the image of the ultimate creator, and therefore it's in us all to create. And this show aims to help you and I both level up in this four-dimensional game of life so that we can go out and create for good, whether that's for ourselves, our family, the community around us, but all of this a part of a generational vision of a family of creators coming together to be the difference. Creator fam, welcome back to the Creator Podcast. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here rocking with me. We're gonna let the beat ride a little bit longer today, man. I'm just in one of those moods. This is a nice beat too, though. Like when I hope you guys get excited. Y'all gotta get at me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Let me know, like, are you feeling the beat? Like when the Creator Podcast drop, you hear that music, does it get you as hype as it gets me? Like I could just sit in this vibe for a second. Man, I appreciate you guys. Creator Podcast now in 44 different countries. That's a blessing, man. I even Googled it because I was curious. There's only like 50 English-speaking countries. And so that's pretty impressive, man. We're in episode 11, I believe. Y'all are supporting the heck out of this, man. So please keep it up. If you haven't already, drop that 5-star rating. Leave a review. All of that stuff helps, man. That helps it spread, man. You know, these podcasting sites, they say, ooh, that creator movement doing something over there. We might want to show this to some more people. And so I know it feels like it's in the way. It's a waste of your time, but it doesn't take you that long. And that's all I ask in return, man. I'm going to keep pumping these out daily, and I hope it's starting to get into the soul, man. And if you don't feel like it's taking root yet, and by it, I mean this identity of a creator, keep listening, man. Keep listening. And once you feel them hooks start to sink in, lean into this, man. I'm not crazy talking about you're a creator. You can create. Like, that's real, and I want you to feel that. But I understand it might take some time. And as you are listening and you're starting to look at things differently, right? You may come up in opposition. You may have something go wrong in a relationship, and instead of looking at it through the lens of scarcity and lack, now you're looking at, okay, what are the pieces I have here? Almost like you got Legos, right? But you ain't get to pick your Lego. You know what being a creator is? And I'm gonna give you an analogy from kindergarten. Do you remember when your teacher would give you like a little just squiggly on the line? A squiggly on the line. She'd give you a squiggly line on your paper, or everyone's would be different. They'd give you just a random few lines or something, and you have to go create a picture out of that. Okay, for some of you that analogy didn't hit. So you more of a gambling addict. I'll give you a casino or a card game, a poker analogy, right? You don't get to decide the cards that you're dealt, but it's all about how can you work it? How can you work them cards? You might be looking like, hey, God, that person's squiggly line's a little bit better than mine, but okay, but what can you do with yours? And that's the mindset I want you to have. And in every episode, we're just touching on little different, we're planting seeds, man. Okay, we're planting seeds. We're just flipping switches, and I want you to take that and run with it. And when you're doing that every day, you're going to build up so much momentum. So if you're looking for the maximum effect, make sure you're tuning in every single day. I am busting my butt. I am sacrificing to make sure that I can deliver this on a daily basis for you guys. I feel like this is the fuel for the creator movement, and I want you guys constantly fueled up, plugged into something. And so I don't want to let you guys down. And just know, in the event we do hit a point where there isn't an episode one day or it's mad late, no, I am beating myself up, and there's a good chance something as crazy is going on in my life. But I will be somewhere very, very, very sad about it and upset, regardless of what's going on. And it was important to keep me from doing this. So there's that. But let's jump into the topic today. Okay. I had some bold claims, talked about seeing into the future, a principle ingrained into our universe. What am I talking about? And like I said, I do believe this is in the foundation of our universe. We see it everywhere. But it's also a biblical concept as well, a biblical principle, and that is the principle of sowing and reaping. Right? What does that mean? It's actually it's more of a what's the word? Why am I drawing a blank? An agricultural term. Okay, it's planting. So sowing, another word for that could be planting. You're sowing seed, and then what is reaping? That's the harvest. That's the gathering of the seed that you planted. And entitlement might be trying to reap without sowing. Think of the farmer. How does he get the corn? Well, he has to sow the seed of the corn if he wants to reap or harvest corn in the future. And it's a beautiful analogy. And we could talk about it from so many different angles and talk about it for so long. But I'm not going to preach to you, but it's very simple, and I want you to understand that at its core is that you get in, you get out what you put in. I can't plant apple seeds and be expecting to, so I can't sow apple seeds and expect to reap bacon. That doesn't make sense. And even just understanding that will allow us to get clarity on some of the things that we're frustrated about in our head. We're wondering, why does my situation look like this? Why am I reaping this? That's a great question to ask as a creator, by the way, because then it allows us to work backwards. Well, now that I understand reaping and sowing, well, what have I been sowing in this area? Okay. And why am I reaping what I'm getting now? And we've talked about this a bit in other ways in this podcast, but I want you to understand it's very simple. All right. And that's just almost like a formula for you to work through to understand the different areas of your life. Another term is, I learned this from one of my very good friends and business partners who helps build a lot of our websites. He was explaining to me like a programming term. And all my programmers, I might mess this up a little bit, but I get the gist of it. And I believe it's an original programming term. And that is the idea of garbage in, garbage out. And essentially it means if you have a garbage code or you have problems or issues, with the code, well, that's what you're going to get out of it. That's the experience that you're going to get on, for example, the website. And my friend he's like really big on that. Like, we're doing some really cool things with our websites, and he's like, yo, I don't like, I'll be talking about, well, maybe we want to get some help here and get some more people on the team. He's like, yeah, maybe. They can't mess up the code, right? Because when you mess up the code, you get some garbage into the code, you're going to get garbage out. We also hear it, you are what you eat. If you only eat Twinkies and Reese's Pieces and Kit Kats and bubble gum, you shouldn't be eating bubble gum. That's weird. But again, garbage in, garbage out. You are what you eat. You can't be mad when you don't have the six-pack. When you only bring hostility and negativity and unforgiveness and sarcasm to your relationship, you can't be mad when you're not reaping love and kindness and generosity and sex if you're married, right? It's a simple understanding. Garbage in, garbage out. You are what you eat. You reap what you sow. And so we understand that, but I don't want to leave it there, because, and here's my main point. I just wanted to make sure you guys understand that. But the perspective I want to hit it for this episode is that I want you, for those of you guys that are working hard and you are grinding in a certain area, You're trying to build a business. You're trying to improve a relationship. You're trying to get in shape, and you're not seeing the results yet. It's very tempting to want to quit. And I recently had a celebration with someone on my team that I've been working with for a while. You know, I got not everyone, most of my team is younger than me. And so it's tough. It's hard being young. I mean, it's hard being alive in general. I don't want to say that. I didn't mean that like that. I don't want to say being alive is hard, but it can be difficult to not be tempted by all the comparison out there, which we've talked about a lot lately in the podcast. It's as a young gun, you on Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and this and TikTok, and you're seeing what everyone else is doing. And it's easy to see people that are successful and only follow them from their success. Think about it. You didn't start following most of the people that you follow when they were on the grind, when they were unknown, when they were just getting started. Like most of us don't get the luxury of being, or to get the privilege of saying we were rocking with them from that long, because they were small, they were unnoticed. But once they blew up, we found out about them. That's just the nature of it. And so that gives us a distorted view on what success looks like. And we think that it really is this on-demand overnight thing because it seems to happen fast on the internet. And I'm not saying that it can't, but especially when we talk about reaping and sowing, there's a process in between. You don't plant a seed and then the next day you have a full-grown tree. You also don't plant something and never water it and see it sprout up. There is a process. And I want to speak some encouragement into some of you guys that are in the process. You are the seed, or the seed is buried, and you've probably watered it all week, and you are staring at the ground like, why hasn't it sprouted up? I remember being in school when we planted it was my first, I want a garden. I really do want a garden. I'm getting old, man. I want stuff like that. But I remember, they gave us the little cups, and they weren't the see-through cups, but it was a cup, and we had to plant something in it. And we had to just sit there. It was at school. We didn't take it home, and we would sit it up in the little windowsill at school. And every day I'm just looking at it like, man, I've been watering you. Where is when's it going to sprout? And you're looking at it every day. And because you're looking at it every day, it feels, it might be a week, but it feels like a year. And then guess what? One day there's a little bit of something, you get fired up. But then you're like, dang, all right, it finally broke through, but it's still little, and it's staying little for a long time. But you're on Instagram seeing everyone else with their tree, and you're feeling ungrateful for your little sprout. You're like, where is it? Right? And we're surrounded by that, which is why through a lot of the programs, I encourage people to get off of social media, because that can be one of the biggest distractions. We got to be careful, man, because we will plant a seed and expect a tree the next week. Please hear me. There's a process. This is in our creator code. Process. And often part of that process requires pain, and there's often sacrifice. And that should be expected. And so for you guys that have planted, you've watered, and you've been watering, and you don't even see a sprout yet. You're like, man, I've dropped this YouTube channel. I posted 100 videos. When's it going to happen, man? When is it going to happen? Or you're like, man, I've been trying to be nice to this chick. You might be talking about your girlfriend, right? I've been trying to be nice to her. She always got a dang attitude. I was nice for 3 days, Dion. 3 days, and she's still pouting. You may be saying, yo, I've been to the gym, fam. 2 weeks. 2 weeks, the scale ain't dropped yet, right? And you're feeling fatigued. You're worn out. You're like, am I gonna get there? Well, here's how you can look into the future and better predict your results. Okay, remember, this is a different angle we're looking at it, but it's still the concept of sowing and reaping. So we got to get in when you're in the season of fatigue. you're worn out. You're like, man, I don't know if I could go any further. I want you to remember, if you're trying to sow an apple seed, you need to be very clear and focus on planting an apple seed, right? Did I say that right? I said it so dramatic and drawn out. I forgot what I said. If you're trying to reap an apple tree, make sure you're sowing an apple seed. Now that sounds so explanatory, like, no duh, Dion. Yeah, but now let's apply it to your life. If you're trying to reap a 6-pack, make sure everything that you're sowing in your diet, in your exercise, in your sleep is a 6-pack seed. And you may be sitting there looking and you're reaping a lot of things. Maybe you're reaping more rolls, more fat, and it ain't a 6-pack. And you swear you're being busy, and maybe you are. You're busy planting seed, but it might not be the 6-pack seed. Maybe you're planting the, a little sore after the end of the day kind of seed. You're working out a little bit, but your diet is horrible. That's not 6-pack seed, right? Maybe you aren't cussing your girlfriend out no more, so you're busy, but you're looking for peace and unity, tranquility in the relationship, but that ain't enough. That's not the right seed. Maybe you should text her something nice, take her out on a date, surprise her, right? Let's live in the circle of truth here. What is the seed that you're actually sowing? And when you get clear on the right type of seed, all you got to do is focus on that. Think about it. You sow and then you water. That's all you focus on. And that's what I was working on with my team member. They were like, man, I just want this to be happening. It ain't happening. I feel like it should. I said, hey, trust me, that can be stressful. Trying to sit there and watch a seed and wait for it to grow can be stressful. But let's not focus on that. Let's just focus on what you're putting in, because we understand garbage in, garbage out. So if we know we're putting enough good in, we can't help but get good out. If you are what you eat, eventually enough fruits and vegetables and less grease and French fries, right? Eventually, we're going to start to see something. It might not be week 1. It might not be week 2. Same with the seed that you planted. But eventually, if you can focus in, remember we talked about that 2-letter cheat code a few episodes back. That's all we're focusing on is what's going in. You can think about military, right? You gather, you might hold some ground, and then you might retreat and relinquish that. You can retreat every single troop from focusing on the reaping. Don't even stress yourself out about it. Don't compare yourself. Nope. I just need you to drill in and focus on what you're sowing. And as you do that, you relieve a lot. You relieve a lot of stress and anxiety, and you stop struggling with comparison. You're able to become grateful. Oh, man, if you didn't listen to yesterday's episode, what you doing? This is daily. If you ain't heard all of them, you go start back. Maybe do 2 a day just so you can catch up if you're joining this party late. But once you really master the art of being able to focus on just the reaping, that's when you start to get momentum. That's when you're sleeping better at night. That's when you're not as worried and you're not so as burnt out and you're not as fatigued, and you can actually start enjoying the process. And gratitude is the perfect complement to this. So it's time that we transfer into the portion of the podcast where we put some feet to it. Y'all hear the man? He's taking action. He's running. That's what we're all about right here. Not just learning the principle, but actually implementing it into our life. All right. So again, reaping and sowing. I want you to almost work backwards on this. So what are you trying to have? What are you trying to reap out? All right. What is the final product that you're looking for? And possibly even feeling burnt out on that. Now let's let's work our way back to to the 1 to 3 steps you need to be taking that would have you planting that perfect seed. Because it starts with the seed. You can't plant horrible seed and then hope I don't even know the process for the seed sprouting and all that, for it to just transform. Like we said, putting in the apple seed, one in bacon. So get so clear on what that seed is that you need to sow, to reap. And I'll need you to commit to only planting and then watering that seed. Don't look at nothing else. Don't be like me when I was 5 years old, however, just looking at that. Just looking at the seed every day. Did it pop up? Did it pop up? Did it pop up? I'm gonna drop the beat. Did it pop up? Nah, dang it. You know what, hold up. If I keep, eventually it's gonna pop. No! You're gonna drive yourself crazy. Put the blinders on, just keep watering. Keep watering. Remember how grateful you are. It may not have sprouted here, but where have your blessings sprouted? And you more than welcome to focus on that. And I give you full permission to retreat, relinquish all of your troops off of the territory that's got you bugging out that tree isn't there yet. It will be there one day. That's how you predict the future. That's how I be calling my shots. It's crazy. I've really had people be like, yo, God be speaking to you. No, you was crazy. I don't want to say that he don't. But God didn't tell me that was going to happen. I just saw the garbage going in. I knew garbage was about to come out. And I saw this part of my area. I knew I've been putting a lot of good in. You notice I didn't tell you the date. I ain't the Simpsons. I can't predict everything exactly when, but I know it's coming. Because I see what's going into it. And that's all I'm worried about. There's so much that happens underneath the ground with the seed and all for us, it might, if you're like me and you don't really know the process, it might be magic. You like, yo, how do water go on and turn it into, I don't know. But I know what I can focus on. I'm going to plant the right seed and I'm going to water that. And I invite you to do the same. I also invite you to check out freecreatorcode.com. I'm going to keep saying it till you go in. It's simple. You don't need your money. All you need is your email. You're going to get printouts. You're going to get the core teaching for what it is to live this creator lifestyle. And then I want you to lock in on that and make sure you're checking in every single day, because I'm going to have something new for you. Also, share the podcast, man. Let's see how many countries we can get to. How long does it take us to get to 50? We're in 43 right now as a creator family. I'll keep you guys updated on that. But I love you guys. Thank you oh so much. I will see you tomorrow. God first. God bless.